Hey, this is probably a Ryan Runs. Probably. I'm probably Ryan Miller. I had the camera out to do another video, so I figured it would be a shame not to put one of these together. Boy, this is a bad start. But I'm gonna roll with it because this is kind of just a quick in-betweener of a show, in-betweener wiener. To say that at least while we did take some time off there during the holidays, we are back at it. Certainly this week, if you've been around, or last week too, we actually started with a stream of a Lego loop coaster that we built, which will go up on that top shelf eventually. Right now the kids are still playing with it. The kids are still playing with it. We bought a motor for it that has since come and attached to the little crank, so you can just hit go and just watch it. Gray loves it. But also you're gonna see a new Let's Play in the form of Clue. That was some footage we shot over the holidays that I just barely now got to editing. It was fun. It's also pretty quick. It's only about 20 minutes. And I think 2 unboxing videos since last we talked. So there were the mics that I took out because we also did a new podcast that I mentioned we were going to do, which did end up being named Miller's Meandering. Fun little take on Ryan Runs, because we just sit around, all 4, probably 3 of us, depending where Gray's at, and talk about whatever for a while. And then I just recently did a quick one for the iFootage Shark Slider Nano, which was some fun. So a fair amount of stuff on the site being YouTube, although that podcast episode is just up on the podcast feed for now. I don't think I'll be posting those on YouTube in any form. So if you want some Miller's Meandering, go find us there. But the other reason I say this is probably Ryan Runs is because I've got a little bit of game talk. This is kind of, I just got to get it out. It could be a gameplay episode, which is a series, if you remember, that I've dropped the ball on in a number. It's not true. There has been some movement. I did split up the first episode. I think that's part of what was taking me a long time, is the script for episode 1, which I have already said is on kind of Criterion and the Burnout games and what they've become. That was just Google pages, but 3-4 Google pages long, single spaced. So I split that up into 2 episodes, so it's a little bit easier for me to look at and think about recording. So that will come. And I do think there will be gameplay episodes where I do kind of just talk about what games I've been playing lately, you know, old school style for me anyway. But this, as the title might suggest, is going to be very off the cuff, thoroughly unresearched. If you are a Marvel Snap head, I apologize. This is maybe not what you're looking for. This is just me spouting off. I put off playing Marvel Snap because I knew I wasn't gonna have time for it. I knew just looking at it, you develop a feeling for games sometimes that you just know you don't have the time for. So I finally downloaded it. I did it while I was in Denver. I went and visited Matt, my friend Matt. And in fact, I downloaded it the morning before I left, which was already a problem because my flight got canceled. Oh boy, I made it home eventually and have been playing that since. So not even a month yet. And again, I haven't looked into any websites. This is typically also how I play games. I will dabble in the meta here and there, you know, like what things balance what, like what cards do what. Obviously, that's a large part of this game. Marvel Snap, by the way, is kind of a card game and kind of a deck builder at that, although maybe that's already too complicated of an explanation. You're playing against a person, presumably, we'll get there, wherein you each play cards onto a board from a deck that you have built beforehand. And based on the abilities of the locations, there's 3 locations or lanes, and the abilities of your cards, somebody will win. There you go. They all have point values, and the abilities do stuff to the point values and stuff like that. So that's it, base level explanation. There you go. The meta being kind of who counters who, what cards out there are synergistic. There's even maybe a larger kind of community meta out there, which is really the stuff I don't typically get involved in. I like to, again, as this title might imply, get into a game and just formulate my own bad opinions about it and strategies at that. You know, I will speak with friends like me and Matt, go back and forth about the thing a whole bunch, and there are some Twitter friends as well that are fun to get into it about. But I won't typically go to any websites or, you know, look up any builds or anything like that, which, again, all to my disadvantage, but there you go. That's the amount of time I'm willing to dedicate to this thing. The few things I did want to mention about the actual game is that the Marvelness of it, do the good things first, the Marvelness about it is pretty immaculate. You know, like if you're a Marvel fan, I can't imagine you'll have any complaints necessarily about this thing. The abilities that they add to the cards usually have something to do with the Marvel characters themselves, so you'll get a neat little rush by seeing also, you'll get a neat little rush just because they're all gorgeous. Like, they're all fantastic looking, fun cards that you can upgrade, have different cosmetic abilities and things about them. So not only the Marvel look, but also the Marvel, you know, lore about it is all really well done, exceptionally well done. There's a lot to appreciate there. Also, as far as the gameplay goes, the readability is also pretty immaculate. Like, you can look at any game board at pretty much any time and kind of know what has happened so far. There's 6 turns in a match, so certainly by the end you're not going to know necessarily what happened on in the early turns, but also not much happens in the early turns. So that part's been really cool. It makes it eminently shareable. You know, you can just share a screenshot of a board at any stage in the game and look at it and be like, oh, I know what's going on or what has happened roughly at the end of the game also, because usually it'll build up to a turn 5 or 6 kind of finale. All of the higher cost cards typically do a lot more stuff. So that part about it also really cool. It's a good game, which I never played Hearthstone. I know this has some of that lineage to it, so forgive me, but I've heard that game was good too and had some of the similar strengths about it. So it's a good game. The friction that I bumped up again, because again, they're trying to make money and they should, why not? And it's a good game. So I'm sure it does. But I'm a cheapo, so I don't often delve into that part of things. I don't often give people a lot of money. I've softened on this somewhat, certainly when it comes to Rock Band, and that has become more important to me. I always point behind me, but I don't think you can see a symbol right over there. But I've gone on a spending spree when it comes to DLC lately, but with other games, I'm typically pretty stingy, you know, especially the free-to-play stuff. I'll just, you know, rub up against that friction. When I say friction, obviously that's the thing that they put in the game. I'm calling it kind of a soft paywall, where I haven't paid anything yet, but the game's getting a little bit more annoying in some ways. Oftentimes there will be new content that hopefully isn't buffed in a way that wants you to buy it because other people are mopping the floor with you. Unfortunately, that's what I'm getting a little bit of right now. It seems like I can't get a game that doesn't have Brood, which is a card that spawns 3 more cards, all of them 2 more cards, I think. No, actually maybe 3. Anyways, they're all 3 cost, and then somebody plays Silver Surfer, which buffs all 3-point cards with another 3 points. So I've lost game after game, and it seems like I just keep getting those. So part and parcel with that is that I think they throw bots at you so that you can progress. There is a ranking system, which I really shouldn't care about. You do get bonuses every 10 levels, but honestly, I hit level 80. I've gotten as high as 89. There's only 100 levels, so really I should be happy with whatever, again, the non-paying customer that I am. But it really does seem like they throw bots at you enough just so you can progress. Although, unless the bots are emoting, I would think that they're not. I always feel like I don't emote, so I might be a bot as well. But I can certainly tell when it's not a bot because they're throwing emotes my way like crazy. Emotes are kind of just these icons you can throw up on the screen that have a message or a communication of sorts. It's very limited, as it should be. In fact, some would argue that not even those. Because sure, you're not getting all of the racism and whatever that you might get in a normal game chat, but man, they find a way. Some people just find a way to make those seemingly innocuous emotes really hit home, hit hard, especially if you lost the game. So the bots, I don't think do that, or at least I would hope not, unless maybe they're throwing out, you know, like a good game emote, which I've gotten a few of those too. And there's also, there's one emote that I do like that has not got old, but I could see how it could, where it's the Spider-Man where he's like, you know, the meme where there's two of one thing. So if you play the same card, we can both play that at each other and point at each other like that. I appreciate that. That's fine. It just seems like they're feeding me bots until I do well enough, and then when I start getting real people with like real names, it's just all downhill from there. So I don't have the cards to compete, is what I'm getting at, I think, without having purchased anything. Right now, the premium pass is some stuff I'm not really interested in, so I wouldn't purchase it anyway, hoping, because I had no problem giving the thing money. When I say I've softened on stuff like this, that's what I mean. Before, I would just maybe delete it or not play it or whatever. But now it seems like I'm very much more amenable to the fact that if I'm having fun, they deserve to get some money, and I'm totally fine with that. You know, I'd be spending $60 on a console game. If I play console games anymore, anyways, that's not true. I do, but it's changed, and I'll talk about that maybe some other time, because when I started this, it said I had 20 minutes, and I feel like I've gone over that already. So this was a quick one. And thanks for hanging out. As always, you can find me on Facebook, Twitter, Ryan Runs, it's all there. Also, you can find me on Patreon. And if you've liked this, I don't mention it enough, that's how I do more of this. So if you can do that, it's patreon.com/Ryan_runs_. So thanks for hanging out. See you guys next time.